Hi, this is Jody from Puppywinkle, and welcome to part 5 of my interactive nature journal. I'm going to start calling it a pop-up book because that's what it's turned into. I got so excited about these mechanisms, these moving the pieces, and I am having so much fun. And it is so easy. Like, it looks crazy hard. It is not hard. It is not hard at all. So I'm going to show you how to do this one. I have to say thank you to Duncan Birmingham. He's got a YouTube channel. It's called the Pop-Up channel. I'm going to link to it. And I knew what I wanted to do, but I didn't know how to do it. And so he taught me how to do this. So here's the full spread. It's basically the mechanism, which you can't really see because it's facing up, and then these two information kind of things, because this whole journal is about recording what I see, what I know, and sharing information. And so here I kept track of when the hummingbirds migrated, when they first came, and when I last see them. And this is why I'm doing it, because I'm doing this in September and it's soon time for them to leave. And I haven't seen the last one. I saw one today, so I don't know when my last sighting is yet, but that's to come. And so I made these things. This is part of the printable I'm making, which is still not available. And then I just decorated them kind of with some stickers on the outside. That was pretty much it. And then the mechanism. So it was a real easy do. And the mechanism is super easy, and here's how you do it. So the first thing we're going to work on is the pop-up mechanism, because that's the kind of the fussy part, and so we'll do that first and then build the rest of the page around it. For any pop-up mechanism, you're going to need good strong glue, scissors, you're going to need whatever you want to have pop up, and this is 2 layers of cardstock with an image, and I did ink around the edges just so the white doesn't show. It just makes it look so much nicer. And then you also need something to make the mechanism, some kind of other cardstock. You also need a piece of cardstock to be your page. And I'm going to put this into a journal, but a lot of my pages are paper. So I'm just going to glue this onto the paper. The other things I like to use is a bone folder, because whenever you're making a pop-up mechanism, you want all the folds to be super folded back and forth both ways. And I also like to crease it with the bone folder to really make it folded. So if you have one, that's super helpful. Also, I like to, if I'm not quite sure what I'm doing with my mechanism or where I want something to go or if it's going to work, I like to put a little double-sided tape on it before I attach it, and then just kind of see if it works, and then I attach it permanently with the glue. So this has also helped me out too, because I'm really new at this. So the first thing you want to do is you want to make whatever it is that's going to pop the whole thing up, the first mechanism. And I am going to take a piece of 5 by 1.5 cardstock. Now, depending on what you're going to be holding up, that's going to change your size. But this is a good size to start. And that should hold most things, I think, for a junk journal. So the first thing you want to do is crease it, like I said, back and forth and back and forth. Really crease it in the center. And that's the part that's going to go right here along the center line of your page. And then you also want to make the part that's going to attach to the page, because you have to glue it to the page, and so you want to make plenty of space. This is at least a ½ inch. You want to make plenty of space to attach this to your page. So back and forth, really crease. I'm not going to stress that every time, but it's the case. Like, you need to keep doing that. And so now I want to cut here in the center, and then I want to cut here on the edge to make kind of a little house shape. And then we have the pop-up part. So once you have your little house like this, you want to put glue all the way to the edge, all the way to the fold of your tab, and all the way around. So really glue it up, not sloppy, but nice and glued. And then you want to place it with the fold in the center to match the fold. It doesn't look like it in the camera, but it is matching the fold in the page. And you want to keep it there so it stays glued. Wipe any away. And then on this side, oh, and you want this pointing down, so when it closes, it comes down. Because you don't want it to come up, because then it goes above the top of the page, because we're up at the top there. So then I want to glue this part down. Do the same thing. See a little glue there. And then push this down and then close it, and it'll put itself right where it needs to be. So then when you open it, it pops up. Once that mechanism had dried well, I took my flowers and leaves, double layers of cardstock, and I attached them to the mechanism. So there's my pop-up. When you close it, it folds down, and when you open it up, it pops up. And as I was adding, like, see this little piece of leaf that kind of came over, so I made sure to always close it if I added anything weird that I thought might stop it from opening or closing. So I tested it as I went. And so there it is. And you could leave it like that. You could just do your one pop-up thing. If you were to do that, I would say put these tabs on the back when you first glue it on, so they're not so obvious. But I don't care because I'm going extra. So I'm considering this a background, and it kind of just covered the whole mechanism. And now I'm going to add depth to it. So I have some cards. This is about 2.5 inches by 1.5. But again, so doesn't matter. It so doesn't matter. What does matter is that this fold is the same as this fold, the first and the third, because the first you're going to put against your backdrop, and the third is going to come down to the floor. So you want those to be the same distance. So I'm going to glue here to the backdrop, and I'm going to glue this one to the floor. So the first and the fourth. That gets glued to the backdrop, that gets glued to the floor, and then we have another mechanism, and I'll show you that. Here's the second mechanism attached. And I took a little tool and I pressed in against the side and on the bottom so the glue stuck. And I'm going to add a few more of those willy-nilly. I'm just making it up as I go along, and then I'm going to decorate those just the way I decorated the first one. So here's my finished pop-up. That's one side. I did the other side a little smaller, so it was a little off center, which I like. I like the look of. And here's how I did it. I did a small little pop out here. And then that bigger one you saw me make is there. Just to give it some different depth. I like that. And all these are attached to this one pop-up. I just put them on top of each other so they go up high, but that's because these are attached to the pop-up and then these are attached to the flowers. So you can make it go up high. And then this side has just one small pop-up thing. Mussel, they call them mussels. And then I had some of the bases sticking out a little bit. And so I just cut these flowers in half and just pasted them to the bottom cardstock just because that looks prettier than the mechanism showing. So there it is. So fun to do. So fun to do. And honestly, it had the one main V pop up and then these little boxes I added. So it was simple. And it closes right up. And it's all ready to put in my book. Yay!